People often use the words trauma and PTSD interchangeably, but they're not the same. Trauma is the event, it's what happens to us, the loss, the accident, the crisis, the moment that shakes us. PTSD is when that event lingers and our mind and body keep reliving it. Trauma happens once. PTSD is a replay that doesn't stop. For example, if you have ever tripped and scraped your knee, that's trauma. If the scrape heals, you move on. But if the wound keeps reopening, hurting weeks or years later, that's PTSD. We all encounter trauma. Not all of us develop PTSD, but all of us are shaped by how we respond, how we recover, and how we lead ourselves and others through it. For me, it was 2 minutes that replayed for the next 2 decades. It started as an ordinary travel day. My connecting flight landed at JFK and lingered on the runway. I have another flight to catch. Patience was not my virtue. Finally, we were allowed to exit. Somebody cut in front of me and walked slowly, then stopped, staring at his pager, the 90s tech obsession. I took a mad dash toward my gate, lugging a suitcase, holding a purse, clutching a third bag. Back when we could, I was going on a special trip to accompany a teacher who had organized a 10-day tour to Paris for 16 students. She counted on me to help. A few months earlier, she had reached out. Why me? She had read about a trip I took with my eighth graders, wondering, how did you travel so well with children so young? I shared insight, offered tips. You are a good teacher, she said. I was blown away. Would you like me to go with you? I was already planning to visit my aunt in Geneva. I could do both. Help the group for 10 days, enjoy Paris, then take a train to my aunt. She accepted my offer. I felt honored to help. Mimi, my grandmother, always said, there's a reason for everything. Not that I believed in something antiquated, but everything came together. I ran to gate 27, flight 800, my boarding pass. The agent frowned. The doors are closed. What? No, please. My group, Mrs. Dickey and her students, are there on that plane, our meeting point. If I miss it, I have no way to contact them. Back then, we didn't have cell phones. The agent didn't budge. I had no reason to go to Paris. I was rebooked straight to Geneva. Why me? Ma'am, your new flight is boarding. I remembered my grandmother's words. There's a reason for everything. No, there is not. That phrase is maddening. It dawned on me. I would be arriving 10 days early. What do I tell my aunt? Hi, wrong country, long story, but I'm in the neighborhood. What if she's not there to pick me up? What would you do? I fretted that entire flight. When I landed, I called. She came quickly. Why did she act as if she had seen a ghost? My grandmother speaks strangely. My aunt behaves strangely. Welcome to my family. Her eyes were red, bloodshot. Maybe from crying? Having a guest drop in 10 days early. Maybe I'd cry too, or wail. She spoke French. Est-ce que tu veux un petit café? Would you like some coffee? I was emotionally beat, but not in the mood for a nap. Oui, bien sûr. Yes, of course. She drove us for a stroll in the city. I didn't listen to a thing she said. I wasn't supposed to be there. My mind was on the teacher I let down. I don't remember the number of the flights I take, much less the ones I didn't. But I remembered that one, 800. How can I be such a screw up? We parked by a kiosk, a newspaper stand. I could wait for the traffic signal. Patience I had none. I was about to run when out of the corner of my eye I saw a newspaper, a huge plane, mid-air, engulfed in flames. The headline, TWA 800, no survivors. 800. The flight I missed? Debbie, the students. Tears were streaming down my face. My eyes were glued to that image. My aunt's eyes glued on me, wiping her tears. Suddenly it made sense. Her eyes red from crying. She thought I was on that flight. She told me about the plane. I thought she was drunk, telling me random news. Mind movies played in my head. All the circumstances that caused me to miss my flight by 2 minutes. It was July 17, 1996. It seems like yesterday. For years, I wondered, why did this happen? Why was I spared? Why them? The thought haunts me. I will never know. Ever since, when the alarm clock malfunctions and does not wake me up, when there's an unforeseen delay that holds me back, when there's no logic I can't explain, I pause, acknowledge the pain. I know there is a reason for everything. But that newspaper scene played for 2 decades. What do you do? Live life to the fullest. Give your very best. Forgive what you can't change. It's easier said than done. When that happens, don't ask why me. Ask what's another way. For years, I lived in the question, why me? I didn't turn to substance, but I did become a workaholic, addicted to being busy, addicted to being alone. I buried myself in work because it kept me from facing pain. On the outside, I looked accomplished. On the inside, I was neglecting myself, opting for isolation, living in a cage of my own making. The shift came when I started asking a different question. Not why me, but what's another way? And that question moved me from victim to victor. It opened the door for me to try something new. It was volunteering. Serving in that capacity was the first time I saw that my skills and my talent could make a difference for others, that I could bring value everywhere I go. And that's what the research tells us too. Back in the 1970s, a psychologist named Bruce Alexander, he noticed something odd. Most studies on addiction put rats in tiny cages with nothing to do. Those rats kept going back to the morphine water until they overdosed. But Alexander asked a different question. What if it's not the drug? What if it's the cage? So he built Rat Park, a big space with toys, food, and other rats to play with. Same choice of water, plain or with morphine. And guess what happened? The rats mostly chose plain water. Even ones already hooked left the drug behind once they had connection. Fast forward to Portugal in the early 2000s. The country was drowning in overdoses and HIV. Most governments would have asked, how do we punish harder? But Portugal asked a better question. What if we treat this as a health issue instead of a crime? They decriminalized possession, offering counseling, housing, and jobs. The result? Overdoses dropped, HIV infections fell sharply. Fewer people used drugs problematically. Shame was replaced with support. And in New Zealand, the courts asked a new question too. Instead of how do we lock people up, they asked, what if we offer treatment instead of prison? The alcohol and other drug treatment courts became a model. People went through structured treatment with support and accountability. The result? Lives restored. The takeaway? Each breakthrough started with asking a different question. Not why them or how do we punish, but what's another way? And for us, whether it's trauma, addiction, or leadership, the answer begins the same way. First, we must ask better questions. And second, we must choose connection. Because addiction survives in isolation, but recovery thrives in connection. Recently, I was in Italy. I may be the only African on this planet who cannot handle heat or humidity. It was hot, and my hands felt sticky and sweaty. All I wanted was water. In Italy, if you want a bathroom, buy something. I bought tiramisu. It was awful, but I ate it. May I use the bathroom? And the shopkeeper, no bathroom. What? I ate this for nothing? I saw a gelateria and went in. I used an app to interpret. Do you have a bathroom? Yes, he said. Can customers use it? Of course. Is there water? Si, signora, there is water. I bought one scoop of ice cream and a paper cup. By the time I found a seat, it had melted all over me, leaked on my clothes, my hands. That's okay. I was going to cash in on that bathroom access. I got in. I had my own soap, lathered my hands. No knob to turn. No handle to twist. Maybe it had a motion sensor. Nothing. I panicked. Noted the room was tiny and felt the same feeling I had when I couldn't get on the flight. How I failed at accomplishing a simple task. I am trapped, I thought, and panicked. How could this be happening to me? Then I remembered there is power to our words. I said, no, 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 not trapped, just stuck. I paused, patience. I moved back and saw metal on the floor that looked like an accelerator. I pressed with my foot and water did flow. What we tell ourselves in any given moment impacts the outcome. Trapped means we cannot go anywhere without an outside rescue. Stuck means the answer comes from within. Sometimes we plan, prepare to avoid that feeling we had in the past. But what we need is to pause and commit to positive questions from a place of curiosity, not self-reprimand. And here's a bigger lesson. Whether it's a flight I missed, a bathroom in Italy, or the way entire countries have responded to addiction, first, we need to ask ourselves better questions. Not why me, but what's another way? And second, we need to connect because addiction and despair grow in isolation, but recovery and leadership grow in connection. That's how we move forward. That's how we heal. That's how we lead. Now I'm going to end with a poem for you titled Another Way. When storms arrive and shadows stay, ask yourself, what's another way? Not why me that shames the heart, but questions of strength that can build a new start. Greet each morning, take in the air, stand in the light that's always there. Forgive what you can't forget and find new strength with each step you set. Addiction whispers, here's your relief. A reckless refuge, a fleeting belief. What starts as comfort soon grows to reliance, a relentless chain that demands compliance. I avoided French, held silence instead. Our family's tongue stayed trapped in my head. In memory of a teacher, I thought it was right. By shutting down language, only dimmed the light. Leadership grows when the truth is spoken, when heavy silence is finally broken. Ask for support, for guidance, for care. Strength multiplies when it's chosen to share. Connections heal what silence divides. It lifts us higher, it breaks down the sides. Alone we stumble, together we stand. And if you feel stuck, remember this truth. Your words hold power, they shape the proof. Say stuck, not trapped. And the mind will see that the lock has a key and the key rests in me. Share your story, write it down in a journal, a song, or words passed around. What once was darkness, heavy and deep, can be the lantern another will keep. So rise, dear leader, with courage to grow. Go ahead and make the ask. Let your needs show. When fear says don't, remember this though. If you never ask, the answer is always no. May your water flow when the journey feels dry, a stream of renewal beneath every sky. And like a river with courage will flow. Keep moving forward, for asking will grow. Thank you.